evening, everyone, and welcome to the workshop session. And I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett.
Here.
Cook. Hammond.
Here.
Henry.
Here.
O'Donnell. Ruben DeSellis.
Here.
Scott.
Here.
Speed. Watts.
Here.
Williams. Mayor is it?
Here.
City Attorney Beard.
Here. Thank you. Under the mayor's report tonight, before we start discussing the ARPA funding, there's two things I want to bring up. We have our street superintendent, Les Ballinger, here. He's brought to my attention, we just had the citywide cleanup this weekend. It was very successful. TVs are always an issue. I wish Lori was here because, you know, you find them everywhere. And we had a number of TVs, and moving forward with, you know, Les has kind of done some homework on this with BLH. They charge us so much money per year for our citywide cleanup to get rid of the TVs. And Les is thinking, and I agree with him, is we can probably save a little money if we pay BLH monthly to have folks take their TVs into them, which if they're city residents, you know, it would cost them nothing. I mean, so basically what I'm trying to say is, if it's an extra $20,000 for TVs through the cleanup, it may be $15,000 if we just, you know, if my mother on Gultra wants to take her two TVs in, then they don't get charged, right, Les?
No,
I mean,
that's what we'll pay monthly for.
the city's on the hook through a monthly process, but right now, BLH comes in and we wrap them up, and then they charge us quite a bit of money each year. Either way, we're gonna get it. I mean, you're gonna find them on Country Club Road, you're gonna find them around town. People just will find a way. But if we offer this incentive, it might save the city a little bit money, and then we'll see. But is there anything to add, Les?
No, just we still provide the service, but I think we'll save money in the long run. Other communities do it, like Springfield, Pana, some others surrounding. Instead of paying them like I think like $200 an hour, what we pay them to come down here and wrap it up, and we save that money right there. So, and we can cut that off any time. I mean, I can tell you what we paid last year, and I don't know what this year's going to be, but it's pretty significant.
I mean, I know the village doesn't accept TVs on their cleanup, correct?
That's another thing too. We had some that tried to slide in there. Yeah.
But here's the thing, even though the village doesn't accept those, they're still gonna be on Country Club Road.
Yep.
They're gonna be on Lake Jacksonville, the south side of Lake Jacksonville Road.
I know Lake Department
So-
was probably 40. They probably bought 40 that they picked up out there.
It's something that, you know, I'm comfortable with going with President Sample and have that discussion if the village can help with us moving forward, because it's ultimately, they're gonna be placed. We all know that. But we're just trying to stay in the game, so to speak, correct?
Yeah. A lot of communities, they limit like 3 TVs per household, and they keep track of their address, so they can't bring any more. And we can even make 2, you know, I don't know how many TVs people have in there.
Yeah.
I would think they could let us work on it.
Monitors and
Exactly,
TVs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Computer monitors, I mean, we got to bring in 2 truckloads of computer monitors. Where you got them at, don't know.
Yeah.
So I
Any
think we would
thoughts on
save
that,
money.
council? I mean, it's, you know, it's kind of like our recycling program. You know, we provide a service, and not everybody takes advantage, but, you know, hopefully we're we're gonna hit it early than later, so. I think it's gonna be less than the cost that we incur, you know, when they go to when they put them at the street garage for for our cleanup. We think that cost is gonna go down, so we don't know the cost, but, I think it's gonna be less than what we're paying right now.
Yeah, that's what they tell me, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Numbers and.
Yeah. Yep,
See what it was for the citywide dump and then it's gonna be monthly.
absolutely.
So the monthly will be based on how many we take into BLH, they'll say, this is your cost for this month, right?
Mhm.
It's not a set fee
No,
every month, it'll be determined by
how many they bring in.
how many.
And I think they said it's $20 per TV or for electronic, yeah.
You know, make it so you don't have to keep it in your garage for 6 months and get rid of it. Just take it out.
Right. Right. Okay, the other item, not on the agenda is, we had a sign, our city sign's coming in from the east. We don't even know where the one is from the north, and we have the one at Community Park on the, across the street from Dairy Queen. But, our city signs, Lori Large, Old Nettle, Alderman Old Nettle, years ago was going to do something as far as signage. We had a lot of discussion, as far as, the service clubs wanting to be tacked onto our sign, but the one to the east coming in from the prison is gone. We had a storm and it's, the flower bed's there. But, so I would kind of like to, not tonight, but the council, give me your thoughts on signage as far as welcome to Jacksonville. I mean, we got the big one by the Ferris wheel. A lot of communities have signs, a lot of communities don't have signs. So more to come on that, but Les, you got anything to add on that?
That was our last one, I believe we lost, unless there's still one in Community Park, I believe.
Yep.
And I know they're like 25 years old.
Yeah, they are.
Pretty outdated.
I mean, if you're heading from, the prison towards Jacksonville, there's an area, where our old water plant was, Blessy Lane. And there's a grass area there. Now, when you're traveling straight, you have to look across the road, but there's an area where potentially, I think, Lori's thinking was putting a big sign up there. Also, I think she was looking into the overpass, or the underpass, I guess, with the railroads, and that's very difficult. We all know that the railroads it's President Biden and it's the railroads, number 2. And dealing with the railroads, but putting a Jacksonville, maybe painting that up, welcome to Jacksonville. So I would, I'll talk to Lori if that's okay with the council, and maybe share her notes from years ago, and we'll move forward on that. Does that sound good? Awesome. Okay, Mayor's report. Discuss ARPA funding. We have $2.5 million, and internally Beth, Treasurer Hopkins, and myself and Phil McCarty have chatted numerous times. We've got your requests in from the aldermen. We've gotten our requests in from the department heads, and $2.5 million goes pretty quick because we have over $8 million worth of requests. So, Phil, would you like to come up and kind of lead that? Because I know there's something pending on the council meeting of a very good project that's eligible for ARPA funding tonight, utility-wise.
So what I'm handing out here is no different than what you got. It's the same numbers, it's just organized a little bit differently than what you got in your email. So, just so everybody knows what the ARPA was and what all this is, and kind of a little bit of where we've been, where we're at now, and kind of where we think we're going to go with your input. So what this was designed for is to build stronger and resilient communities after what this travesty and this very difficult times we've went through with COVID, right? It impacted us in so many different ways as we went through it, right? That's what the purpose of this funds were. The final rule for this funding was posted on January 22nd and took effect on January 1 of 22. The final rule was posted, and it went in effect in April of 22. Okay, so that's when the rules final by the U.S. Treasury on how we handle and how we manage this money locally. There was an interim rule at the beginning that was very restrictive, had lots of rules on it. The second final rule gave us a lot of latitude. With that latitude, we are able to take loss of income for this money and bring it in and not have to follow the very, very, very strict rules for people that got over, and don't quote me on this, I think it was $5 million for this, but give or take, right? We're well below that. So we can take this money and put it towards government services. I Googled government services before I came here tonight, and that's a very broad term, ladies and gentlemen. But it is services that we provide to the community, right? That's what this money is for. There is some restricted use for it. There's some things that are absolutely we cannot use it for. Pension, pay pension funds. It was clearly stated that we cannot use it for pension funds. We cannot use it to pay off any liability based off of any legal issues or anything such as that. We can't put it away as a rainy day fund. It's somewhat tempting to put $2.5 million away, let it gather interest, which has gone up a little bit, and just spend off the interest, right? That's not okay. We cannot do those. Debt services and all kinds of things. There's a 300+ page document if you want to read it. It's pretty rough reading sometimes, but it goes into a lot more detail, right? But those are the major things that we cannot use the funding for. One of the other things we had a lot of discussion about on this, getting more specific, is broadband. We spent a pretty good chunk of money as a community as broadband on this. We did that before this money was out. So you can't forward pay something on a grant that's already, you're kind of chasing yourself a little bit. You're replacing income. So what's the process going to look like? What's our time frame? We really need to have the money expended out by 25, late 25, early 26, which in terms sounds like a long time away, but it really doesn't. By the time you go through the budgeting process and the supply chain issues that we run into every day, the bid and so on and so forth, right? So we've kind of internally talked about the end of 23. We really need to have all this locked down. Budget of 23, we really need to have this locked down on the directions we're going to go. $2.5 million spends in a fly hurry. It goes away in a hurry. And it's just the way it is. So with the information that I handed out tonight, it's very similar. It's the exact same information that you got in your email. It's just moved around a little bit to try to put things into buckets based off of the department or the services the community provide that we as a community provide. We put them into buckets or departments or whichever term you would like to use: public safety, parks and lakes, water and sewer, community and economic development, streets, and then I tried to put something in everything, but then just the last is just general to the city of Jacksonville is where we landed the homeless shelter project. When we put in all those amounts and what we estimated, some of these are hard numbers, right? Some of these are hard numbers. We know this is what this project is going to cost and such. Those are in there. Some of these are just guesses because the supply chain and all the things, not to continue to blame it on that, but it's tough to budget projects right now. That's where some of these numbers you're like, oh my goodness, I'll just use the example of the curbs and the gutters around Community Park. You got to be kidding me, $3.5 million? Well, it's a mile all the way around, and it's wider than it's about a 2-lane road-ish, curbs on both sides, new sidewalk on both sides. I'm not sure $3.5 million will get it by the time you fix it and do it right, and get it up to an 80,000 and all the things, right? But that's what some of those came in. To talk about just specifically some of I'm not going to go into great detail about all the projects because not all of them are mine, right? There's all the people behind me have put a ton of work into these moving forward. So where are we going to go into the future? I'm sure every one of you up there has an idea of how to figure this out, and we're welcome to it. This is not an easy process. But one of the most important things is equality in the community, that the whole community gets to have a use of this funding, and it's something that we can maintain in the future. We can build a really nice $2 million building. If we can never maintain it, never do anything with it in the future, we haven't done good for the community and the people moving forward from that. There's some projects that are really important that we feel have continuously came to the top because they've been on a number of used lists. There's some of there that aren't, not that one's more important than the other. The one that is on the agenda tonight is the Prospect Water Main Replacement Project. That was bid as an alternate for that project. It was on Sally and Rick's list. I've talked to Rick, I've talked to Jamie. I don't want to steal all their thunder, but it makes sense. That project's bid. That project is now, it's ready. If we wait a year from now to do that, we could see 10 to 20% increase on that project when they come back, because they're already going to be here doing some work anyway. Just handed in the lobby with Rick earlier this afternoon. He says, it's been $100,000 a year on the Morton project is what it's cost us. Do we want to do that now? A lot of this, we're halfway through our budget for this year. I mean, for all practical purposes, June is over, and getting something done in 6 months is really difficult. That may be able to get done, I don't know. So for budgeting purposes and tracking of funding for Skip and Beth, which is really important for this grant money, we got to track it. We don't want them to come back in 3 years and say, hey, you messed up on 1.7. We need that back this week. That's not okay. We have to track it, and we feel that we can track this money appropriately. That's why we moved to put that on the agenda. One of the other items that is kind of takes a little bit more explaining is the Nichols Park pool upgrade. That's a matching grant funding, which it meets this. That's government services. I can't imagine what the budget's going to be from when they applied for that grant to where we are today, with the cost of materials and all the things. That's a pretty heavily used pool for everybody in the community. It's a good project. It's a solid project to move forward with. And we feel that's a good fit for using some money opposed to going after general fund money to match that grant in the future. That meets all the requirements as well. With that being said, I think it's important to get your feedback either tonight or in a manner that you folks decide you want to share with us how you feel moving forward, so we can come up with a consensus and really have a strategic plan on how we want to move forward. I don't think we want to just throw things, $2.5 million, I could spend it really quickly, but I think we want to spend it in an appropriate manner that we get your input from, as well as the input from from Brett and Adam and Rick and Adam, chiefs, both plural, and everybody as we move forward. So with that, I will, and so Les doesn't throw something at me, I'll stop talking. He put me on a time limit before I started, and I saw my name was on the agenda. Does anybody have any questions or specific questions? I don't think to get really down into the weeds about specific projects. It's going to be really tough, right? Because everything's important to somebody. But we're open to the suggestions on how you want to move forward, and the time frame. I feel the time frame is really towards the budget time of the year, so we can have it strategically laid out to really implement in '24, in '23 and '24, if that makes kind of sense.
I just have a quick question in regards to the upgrades for the Nichols Park pool. Is that something that South Jacksonville can help with as well?
It's in the city of Jacksonville. We can always, I'd love to ask anybody for more money anytime to help with anything. But yeah, I mean, typically the city has taken on that, and yeah,
It's worth, you know, Dorcella, it's worth, I can have the conversation with village president Sample, but historically, you know, it's in Jacksonville, it's our park, so we take care of it. You know, you weren't on the council, but this is 3 years out, when we got this grant. 400,000 is matching us 400,000, but guess what? 3 years ago, now the price tag's up there. And that's why we built in 600,000, because we feel what we wanted to do at that time, is gonna, $200,000 extra. And we could do another $1 million and make it awesome, but that's kind of the council's call. You know, I don't know what to say. I mean, I can try with the village. You know, they help us with the fireworks a little bit. But I doubt they will want to step up, help on this one. But, you know, their splash pad went down, and we've been very generous with them over the years. And, you know, John Green, as I stated at the last meeting, he's coming over from the village, and he has a good handle on things, and maybe we can get somewhere with that.
that, as it stands right now, this is all we have for you tonight. If however you folks want to move forward, if you want to set up committee meetings, if you want to bucket the money up, and, you know, some of the conversations we've had is bucketing the monies up in certain groups and then spreading it out from there with the interaction with the department heads. But, you know, we'll essentially take your lead and try to take your lead that you give us tonight and come back with the next steps. And, you know, we're open for, we want your input. You can take it back to your constituents and, you know, give us till the middle of July, into July, and give us some more input. You know, there's no right or wrong. The wrong thing is not working together to get something done in a timely and efficient and economical fashion the best we can in this very challenging time. The one all the way around. Well, it's not all the way around. It's on the, would be on the east side, and would be on the end. And probably, yeah, but it's challenging. So, Adam, that's you, buddy. I'm glad you're here.
That's the lower half of the roof that got replaced this year. That would be the shorter section, the first section that wraps around the porch. And it's probably, we're guessing that it's gonna have much more water damage than the top roof, just because of the rubber membrane and the shape it is in. But that's to get that roof. And so we're up to have almost $500,000 worth of that.
That's really tough. We had some pretty long discussions about that. It's a really tough, that's tough. I have no comment. I don't know.
Can I get a little detail on the pro shop for $2 million?
Yeah, so for a number of years, it's I don't want to say it's similar to the pavilion because it's not, but it kind of is. That's just, it's another piece of the property that the city owns, out at the links, is the pro shop as well as the, I don't know what you refer to it as, help me out here, snacks, thank you, concession snack bar in the locker room, is, we struggle to hit ADA compliance out there. And it's getting a lot of age on it, I don't know, it's been there since I can remember as a kid, I don't know what the age on that building is.
1979.
Okay, so not quite as I was a kid, but it's getting some age on it, and not to, I would guess, and that it's going to head down that similar path as a pavilion at a certain point. It's not near as big, but we meet many challenges out there that I'm aware of with water, sewer, and ADA compliance, and all those things. It's starting to eat at things, so that's why it's on there. It's just on there. These are just everything that we threw against the wall. It's what it is. Does that help you? Did I answer your question? Okay. No, yeah. I think you have to have someplace to work out of, and for the golfers to come in and do their thing. I don't know. I'm not a golfer, so you got to have something.
Yeah, we went out for a grant from the bridge by Taco Gringo, a new bridge up towards Maine, and we're hopeful that we're gonna hit that grant. Yeah, and I'd like to piggyback that. If we were to hit that, then go from that bridge further up towards Morton Avenue with new road and sidewalk and stuff. But, yeah. I think that runs by your house. Yes, I like it. No, I mean, we spent all this money, we've done 4 phases of the downtown. It makes sense that, we look at South Main. And we hope to hit a home run again on the West State portion. It may not be next year, but I think we're in position. West State's gonna be a little bit challenging as far as, the East State was relatively easy project, but West State's got its challenges with right-of-way and vaults underneath the ground, and, it's gonna be tough, but it's gonna probably double the East State project. But, I think we need to see it through, and I know the past councils have been very supportive of this, and I think all of you are supportive of seeing West State getting done, and then we move forward. Kent, right, and I'm 100% behind you on the sidewalks. I think what we did a couple months ago about adding another 100,000 into our sidewalks was very appropriate. And if you see the crews out there right now, they're really doing well. It's just timing on these projects as far as grants, because there is money out there where 80-20 money, where all that we've done downtown has been ITEP funding, transportation money, where it's $20, 20% match of the city. But, you know, I would envision, I have no idea what the project would be, but Jim Burke would, and Brian's out here, and young Mr. Burke, I would imagine that it would be a $3 million project, at least $3 million project on West State,
West State?
if not more. It might
It'd
be,
be higher than that.
yeah, it might be 4.
And
So,
you mentioned I'm sorry to interrupt,
no,
the
please.
grant for South Main was Decio, rebuild
Right.
downtowns and main streets. I think it was supposed to be, those were supposed to be announced in late spring, but
Mhm.
it's kind of typical. Last time I checked, it was still in the hopper, and they were reviewing applications, so we're hoping to hear on that sometime soon.
Yeah.
But we just don't know anything about it yet.
But moving forward, we may, if we find out, if we go out for that grant, which we will, I think, this money might be appropriate for our 20% match. So, time will tell. But I think all of us have different, you know, the Nichols Park, we voted on that. We want to move forward on the pool, even though the price tag is up there a little bit more. I think we all want to see that through. Like Phil said, we don't want to really dig deep, but there's more to come. But $2.5 million will go quick.
And we want your input and what you feel the process looks like from here, right?
But I do agree with Alderman Hannett as far as sidewalks and infrastructure, and we're starting to go down that path, and I think it's a good path to go down.
I just wanted to throw this one more thing out earlier.
Yeah,
We
awesome.
had a discussion in special studies about supporting the homeless shelter
Mhm.
and came up with a figure for short term, and kind of depending on what happens with the shelter and anything open, they would consider using some of these funds to pay, not the full freight, a portion monthly as we discussed.
Yeah.
The city portion.
And that was, I jotted that down in special studies, so Aaron's gonna share what the meeting was about, but, hang on. But you're right, I mean, on the funding.
Something.
So, yep. Bill, anything else?
I don't have anything else. I appreciate your input, appreciate your thoughts, and keep in touch with Mayor Ezzard, and we'll get it worked through. It's not easy, right? But it's important that we get it right the best we can.
It's not easy, but it's good that we got $2.5 million to help us. Because we deserve it after those 2 years of whatever. I got bigger words, but I better not say them. Okay, city attorney's report.
Thank you. I have one item tonight, discuss amending the liquor ordinance. This is in response to a request from the China King Restaurant. They want a liquor license now. If you recall, each time that a request comes in, we go ahead and the council takes action on that license on an individual basis. We don't have any licenses built up, so to speak, that we can give out, so I need to give your approval to that.
Yeah, and many times I receive a lot of calls on liquor ordinance, or, requests. And the past councils have been on record that we want 2 parlors. None in the convenience stores. And, the restaurants, this is like, China King is a restaurant. And we've granted those in the past, but, just because I get these calls, I do tell these folks, hey, you're more than welcome to apply. Even if it's a liquor store, or a convenience store, you're more than welcome, but the past councils have said no. And, you know, it's up to you. Just because it appears on the agenda doesn't mean, you know, it's a given you're gonna get one. It's just up to you.
Question, does the other Chinese restaurant, Indian Square, license?
Yes. Yep.
And Fuji does,
Yep.
why, actually, why wouldn't it?
And I get a lot of feedback of why does the Jiffy Stop have gaming, and why does Handel's out west have gaming, and those are considered truck stops because they sit on over 3 acres. So that's why they were allowed. There was a clause in there that there's truck stops, so that's why they have gaming. But, you know, across the street at one of the, you know, the one on Westgate and Morton, they don't sit on that much acreage, and over the years, the council said, no, we're not gonna have gaming in there. Just give you a little background.
We're voting on a liquor
Liquor
license,
license for China Key.
but once that is granted, the
They're gonna-
state would grant the gaming license. when
Yep.
it's filed.
Yep.
That's all I
Okay.
have tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. City Clerk's report.
The citywide aggregation program's been going on since 2009. It is up for renewal at the end of this year. However, the company that we use to kind of go out and for all the communities from east St. Louis, down in that area, clear up to, I think it's up Clinton. Anyway, it's a whole bunch of communities, and they go out and they take bids from the different supply companies. And everybody's been reading about Illinois Power raising the rate for electric this year and everything. So the people that we use jump the gun, and they try to get us ahead of the ball game and try to get us the lowest rate possible. That is going to happen this month. What you would be voting on is allowing the mayor and myself to sign this. This is not something that we've got that I could bring back to you, and once we get a price, we've got about a half an hour to make a decision. That's how fast the supply grid or whatever, that's how fast it works. The price is here, and at 7:30, it's going to be here. So we have to make that decision, and you have to give us the authority to do so. We've done that over the past several years. We've come out pretty good on all of our contracts. We're gonna come out pretty good on this one too, but it's not going to be anything like the last few. Rates are almost double digit, if not double digit, per kilowatt hour. So anyway, they go out for bid. It is a bid, and they do get the lowest, and then they will recommend to us which one we should take. And usually it's only a 1 or 2 year contract. More than likely this year it's going to be a 1-year contract because they don't know what's going to happen. So anyway, that's what this is all about tonight. You're voting to give us the authority to sign the contract to the lowest possible bid we can get for the citizens of Jacksonville. And this does not include Morgan County. Morgan County has their own. We have just the city of Jacksonville. Got a
But
lot
we,
of calls.
but we've saved a lot of money over the years, Skip.
A lot of money. But
Yeah.
right now, you're gonna save, because Illinois Power rates are, I don't know if anybody's on Illinois Power here right now for the supply, but they have to buy theirs from a supply company too. They do not make energy. They don't make it. So they have to buy it off the grid, just like these other companies, Constellation and Homefield Energy. They buy it off the grid too. So anyway, I think Illinois Power's jumped up, if I'm not mistaken, to 8 or 9 cents a kilowatt hour, and we're still paying 4.4.
Yep.
So it's pretty good, at least till the end of the month, or the end of the year, I'm sorry, end of the year. Hopefully we'll have and then as soon as we get that contract, when we sign that, I'll inform the council of what that contract is.
Any questions for Skip? committee reports tonight. Parks and Lakes, who wants to cover that one? Mary, would you like to take that?
There's one item on the agenda for Parks and Lakes, and it is to discuss amending the resolution awarding bid for Phase 2 of the Veterans Park Improvement Project. You have
And
some
we
information?
have Mr. Fletcher there.
Someone?
I'm not quite sure what happened. I'm gonna turn this one over to Skip.
All right,
There we go.
we got
I'll
it.
take it. At the last meeting, when Adam
Yes.
brought this to our attention and we voted on it, I do recall him mentioning $50,000 in his talk, but that was with the bid and the alternate bid. The problem with that was the resolution was for just the bid. It was not for the alternate bid. So we're gonna go back down to this other sewer, the replacement project for the utilities. It's the same thing. We got a bid and an alternate bid, and we only approved this one. We should have approved both, because that's the numbers that he provided at the last meeting. So obviously, we have to have another resolution to add that extra. I think it's $12,000.
Yeah, 12,297.
Yeah,
But it's
so-
still right at what we put in
Yeah.
for capital.
But he did, when he told you how much it was, he mentioned the 50 grand, and it's actually coming in a little less than the $50,000, 40, 48, something like that. So we just wanted to make sure we got that on there, because they're going to be doing the work at they're the same thing as the other one. They're gonna be here, they're gonna be doing the work. We've got it in the budget, $50,000, and we just wanna go ahead and make sure that we get it on resolution. Questions?
Very good. Planning and Public Works, Alderman Scott.
We've got two items. The first is discuss awarding bid for MFT project, section 22. The low bid on that was IRC for $477,921. Unless, or anybody else want to say anything about that?
Yep.
I've been involved in all this, I guess.
I know.
The 477 for the MFT is a lot more than what we'd approved for the MFT, but part of the MFT, part of that bid was for the cemetery roads, and it will be paid out of the cemetery, so actual MFT funds will only be used for the portion of that. Cemetery will pay the rest of it, but it was all in one bid so that we would get the bulk price on all of the
Oil.
rock and oil and things, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Anyway,
happy with that, Doug? Okay, good.
Second item is discuss waiving bids and accepting proposals for the demolition of 607 Northeast Street. There were 3 different bids. The low bid was English Concrete for $15,600. Any questions on that? All right.
Very good. Public Protection, Alderman Bartlett.
Yes, Mayor, we have 2 items tonight. The first is to discuss ESDA surplus property. And I'll leave it up to my gentleman here.
So this is the vehicle that was mine, and I passed down to the fire department. We sold one in the fire department. We're just taking it out of the fleet. It's reached the end of life. It'd be a good vehicle for somebody else besides the city to maintain anymore. You've seen it sitting out here. We've been very successful selling things locally through our local auctioneer online. It's been great for us, so that's what we'll do without it.
Okay.
Approve.
Second is discuss waiving bids and accepting proposals for a UTV for ESDA.
Yeah, so that was in my capital expenditure, just like everything else. It's a little bit higher than what we planned on for. I think I can move my money around in my capital expenditure. This is on a government purchasing process as well. This is meets our needs for what we have. We have an existing one. It's been around and doesn't meet kind of some of the same safety things that we need to anymore, like taillights and windshields and things that we require for our people in town. So it's kind of shady for us to be driving around with that. as well as we're kind of in a rotation process. I've been working with Chief Sills to kind of get stuff together, so that's why I'm not bringing to you tonight, getting rid of one. We're gonna try to rotate through and get, because I'm not even sure I'll get this before this time next year, to be right honest. It's really difficult to get, but they say 240 days is what they said on the quote, maybe. So that's what this is. I'm not getting rid of anything yet because I don't know when I'm gonna be able to. And we'll be able to sell the one we're getting rid of in the future as well.
Questions for Phil?
Yep.
Special studies, we don't have this on the agenda, but I know there was a meeting earlier, so Aaron, what do you, got a little wrap up for us, or?
Everybody's waiting for the wrong direction, but so far, we have one thing on the plate tonight, and that's to go ahead and move three directions, $10,000 for, was it 3 months, and then come revisit it. So,
Okay. 10,000 to new directions, okay. Very good. Doug, I'm sorry, but that's coming out of your paycheck. Okay? Mine. I guess I'm overpaid, so it's gonna come out of mine, so I'll take the hit. Utility, Alderman Watts.
We have 5 items tonight. The first is discuss approving alternate bid for Morton Avenue, Finley Street, and Prospect Street water main replacement projects contingent on receiving ARPA funds for the project. And this is something that Skip mentioned was an addition, and I think Adam's gonna tell us a little more about it.
Yeah, I'll be the third person to talk about this one tonight, I guess, so. This is one that, a project that was presented to you at the May 23rd council meeting where you approved a contract to LW Rowland Construction for water main replacement on Morton Avenue and Finley Street. That was the base bid on the project, and that amount was $550,550.50. We had an alternate bid for Prospect Street water main replacement that came in at $170,170.70. Don't ask me how they get their numbers like that, but that's how it works. So we've discussed using potentially using ARPA funds to add the alternate bid to that project. It is a project that is ready to go. It's permitted. It's been bid out. We have a dollar amount for it. Construction would begin likely sometime in July, maybe early August. Would be completed sometime this fall. So it's something that if it was, well, the bids that we have for this project are good through, I believe, June 18th of this month is when they have a 60-day period from when the bids were received to when we have, can approve them. At that point, we would have to, if we went beyond that, it didn't approve this, we may have to, look at some other means or negotiate with the contractor or something. So that's what this one consists of. So the total amount, 170, 170, 70 would be the additional amount that we would propose to use with ARPA funds for the project. And this is between College and State on Prospect Street. There's water mains on either end, but essentially just water services in the middle. There's 12 residents there that get water service off of it. There's essentially 4 service lines that are serving 12 houses through there right now. So there's a lot of pressure problems that they're dealing with, and it's on the city's list of items that need to be dealt with at some point. Also, due to the location of sewer in that area, this water main will be placed under an existing sidewalk, so that's an added benefit that an old rundown sidewalk will be replaced as part of this project. So, if anybody has any questions on that one, I'll be glad to. This is College to State is where this one's at. And I don't know, the water main, there's a water main that goes south down Prospect off. Yeah. It's just in between where there's not a water main right now. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Okay, item number 2, discuss engineering agreement for wastewater treatment plant north COS pump station and COS effluent pump station electrical and control system upgrades. You want to talk about that, Adam?
Yep, I'll take that one too. So this is one, a project, proposed project out at the wastewater plant. There's 2 combined sewer overflow pump stations out there. This project is very similar to what was done this past year at the Johnson Street lift station, if anybody recalls that one, where the electrical system and controls in there, it's old, it's not good, it's hard to get parts for anymore, it's just in need of replacement. And so this one is in very similar condition to what it was at the Johnson Street lift station, so this is kind of the next step in that process. Working with Ricky, he wanted to get this on the agenda for the design portion of it, contract documents, get that all done this year, and then next year, at that point, go out for proposals to do the actual construction work. So this would be the first phase of it, to have it all designed and ready to request proposals for the next year's budget for replacement of those items.
Okay, and number 3, discuss waiving bids and accepting proposal for mixers at the wastewater treatment plant. Rick, do you have?
We can share the mic for a little bit.
Yeah,
I've got number 4.
you do, okay, we should have skipped, sorry.
That's okay.
Hey, good evening. We was looking for new mixers for the sludge tanks at the sewer plant, and we finally found one from Hydrokinetics. We're gonna be purchasing 2 mixers, and they're $59,390 for 2 of them. That's freight and everything. And then we have to have them installed electrically. When we clean the sludge tanks this year, empty them out, we'll put these 2 mixers in one of them. And I budgeted $70,000 for it, so we'll come in right at budget line on everything. And there's about 90-day lead time on these mixers right now. So by fall, time we get them in, they'll be ready to, we should have the tank cleaned out and ready to install. And that's, the other ones, they just played out. They're 30 years old, couldn't fix them, couldn't get parts for them, so we're just retrofitting the new ones in there. Any questions on that?
Okay, number 4 is discuss agreement for biosolids management program at the wastewater treatment plant and lime residuals management program at the water treatment plant.
Okay, so the city currently has a contract with J. Oros Environmental for hauling their sludge waste from the water treatment plant and the wastewater plant. How many years now have you worked with them, Ricky? It's several.
About 14.
Yeah, and so the contract is coming up for renewal, and so we decided this year, let's put it out to bid, get some other prices, keep people honest, see what's out there. And so 4 proposals were received for the sludge hauling, from a high dollar amount of $663,000 to the low amount of $367,680. The low was J. Oros Environmental. So they came in as the low bid on this. However, they did in their proposal, everybody's aware that fuel prices have gone up and are continuing to go up. So they had a disclaimer in there that their price was based off of current fuel prices as of May 23rd. And so anything, if fuel prices increase above that, the additional cost per gallon, they would pass along to the city. So in discussing this with some of the city personnel, we decided that J. Oros Environmental has worked well with them over the years. However, we felt it would be a good idea to have in the contract that if the fuel prices decreased below that amount, that amount would be reimbursed to the city. So when they're basing a bid off of a specific fuel price, we felt that it should go both ways. So the contract that has been put together has a disclaimer in there for both ways if fuel increases or decreases. Let's see. The next lowest bid was just a little under $10,000 higher than them, based off of the average fuel consumption that they've had in the last few years. To get up to that dollar amount, it would have to increase at about $1.70 a gallon to get up to that dollar amount. So I'd like to think it's not going to go up that much, but there's some protection in there for the city, but as well as the contractor. And this is a one-year contract is what it's set up as.
And the next highest bid above that did not have anything about fuel, but could possibly,
Correct. They did not mention it specifically in their bid.
but it's pretty common today to see a fuel
A
charge.
fuel surcharge is pretty common on a lot of things. 2 of the 4 bids came in and had specific wording in there that they would have a fuel surcharge. 2 of them did not. I have a feeling if there was a final contract proposed, any of them, that just my own assumption that there would be some sort of wording in there regarding fuel prices.
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, and it is a contract that if mutually agreed upon, it could be extended annually, so you wouldn't have to go out for bids every year.
Great. Okay, and the last item we have is discuss waiving bids and accepting proposal for the manhole rehab project. And Rick's back up for that one.
I got 2 proposals this year, one from E.L. Pruitt out of Springfield, one from Rollins Construction here in town. E.L. Pruitt was the lowest at $38,000, Babes was at $68,000. But Babes he was gonna rebuild them all 4 completely from scratch, take the old ones out, and put everything back new. Pruitt's gonna rehab 2 of them and completely rebuild the 2 that's just gone. So I recommend we go with the E.L. Pruitt, because the two can be rehabbed and work probably another 50, 60 years for us. So there's no sense in tearing them all the way out if we don't have to. So, and then they'll just go ahead and rehab the other 2 with the cement lining, take the stairs out, and put new tops on them, stuff like that. So I'd say we should go with E.L. Pruitt for $38,000 on the 4 manholes. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Very good, Rick, thanks. Is there any public comment at this time? No? Okay, we'll adjourn this workshop session. And I would ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. And I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett,
Yes, are here.
Henry,
Here?
Cook, Hannett,
Here.
Odenental, Ruben DeSellis. Here. Scott,
Here.
Speed,
Here.
Watts,
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Mayor Arisa,
Here.
Sutton Beard.
Here.
You have
Okay,
one.
thank you. Is there a reading of the minutes this evening? Motion?
Mayor, I move to accept the minutes as distributed to council.
Alderman Bartlett, second
Second.
by Alderman Hannett. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Presentation of petitions?
No petitions or communications.
And the claims are in the hand of the alderman. Is there a motion to pay the claims this evening? Alderman Williams, second by Alderman Watts. All those in favor of approving the claims, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mayor's report tonight is the reappointment of Tim Plogger, Ike Howe, Gary Hickox, Brad Coors, Adam Craddock, Tom Mueller to the Electrical Commission, term to expire June 30th of 2023. Is there a motion for Alderman Aaron Scott, second by Alderman Watts? Voice vote?
Voice vote's fine.
Voice vote. All those in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. City Attorney's report.
Thank you. The one item I have is the first reading of an ordinance amending the Jacksonville Municipal Code, adding one additional liquor license.
Is there a motion? Alderman Henry, second by Alderman Scott.
Be it ordained that Chapter 3 alcoholic beverages, Article 2 retail sale, Division 2 licenses be amended, adding an additional restaurant liquor license for China King.
Discussion? I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Hannon,
Abstain.
Ruben DeSalas,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Speed, Watts,
Abstain.
Williams,
Yes.
motion passes.
Very good. City Clerk's report this evening.
The clerk's report is the, well, 4 items. Community Development Department report, cash receipts report, general fund budget report, and the revenue analysis report. All of those were sent to you. If you have any questions on those, you can contact me and we can go over them. The last one is a resolution authorizing the extension of service agreement with the lowest responsible bidder for the supply of electricity for the residential and small commercial retail customers who do not opt out of such a program, commonly called the municipal electric aggregation.
Very good. Is there a motion for the clerk's report? Alderman Scott, second by Alderman Henry.
Be it resolved that the municipal electrical aggregation service program or service agreement is hereby approved.
Discussion? I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Hannon,
Yes.
Ruben DeSalas,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Speed,
Yes.
Watts,
Yes.
and Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Thanks for doing that, Alderman. It's a great program, and we've saved the citizens of Jacksonville a lot of money over the years on this. So my hat's off to the city clerk on this, because that's his specialty right there. So, besides his golf game. But hey, we won't get into that, because I can still beat him. But anyway, okay, public comment. Is there any public comment right now? Chief Mefford? No? Okay. Consent agenda items tonight. Finance, IT, and personnel. Alderman Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have 2 items. The first is a resolution authorizing payments from the Capital Improvement Fund for certain improvement projects. And the second item is a resolution authorizing payments from the General Fund for services rendered.
Thank you. Parks and Lakes. Alderman Watts?
Sure.
Will you take that?
There's one item, a resolution amending resolution number 2022R056, a resolution awarding bid for Phase 2 of the Veterans Park Improvement Project.
And Planning and Public Works, Alderman Scott.
We have 2 items. The first being resolution accepting proposal to furnish materials and awarding contract for 2022 Motor Fuel Tax Materials Program, Section 22-00000-00-GM. Second item is a resolution authorizing waiver of advertisements for bids and accepting proposals for the demolition of 607 Northeast Street.
Thank you. In Public Protection, Alderman Bartlett.
We have 2 items tonight, Mr. Mayor. A resolution declaring as the vehicle as surplus and authorizing the manner of sale. And secondly, a resolution authorizing the waiver of advertisement for bids and acceptance of proposal for a Polaris Ranger UTV for ESDA.
And special studies, we'll do that at the next meeting. We'll have that on the agenda to approve the 10,000. So new directions and utility, Alderman Watts.
We have 6 items, and number 1 is resolution authorizing payments from the Water Works and Sewage Project Fund for services rendered improvement projects. Number 2, resolution approving alternate bid for the Morton Avenue, Finley Street, and Prospect Street water main replacement projects. Number 3, resolution approving engineering agreement for wastewater treatment plant north CSO pump station and CSO effluent pump station electrical and control system upgrades. Number 4, resolution authorizing the waiver of advertisements for bids and acceptance of proposal for mixers at the wastewater treatment plant. Number 5, resolution approving agreement for the biosolids management program at the wastewater treatment plant and lime residual management program at the water treatment plant. And number 6, resolution authorizing the waiver of advertisement for bids and acceptance of the proposal for the manhole rehab project. And I so move.
Thank you. Is there a second? Alderman Ruben DeSellis. You've heard the items under the consent agenda this evening. Do you wish to pull any of them for further discussion? Seeing none, I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett,
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Ruben DeSellis,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Speed, Watts,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. I need to back up. Is there any public comment this evening? Forgot about that. Okay. Any old business? I see Brian Nyberg out there. He hasn't said a word tonight, which kind of scares me, so.
Turn over a new leaf.
Please don't, Brian. Don't turn over a new leaf. You're good.
Nobody believe him anyway.
Any old business tonight? Yeah, it's, boy, it's a shifting curve every day. They came back last week and said they're gonna mow, they reevaluated their scope, that they're gonna mow more, but they're not gonna mow at all. And, I'm just trying to find that right person to tell them to mow it all. I know talking internally with our guys, it would take our guys, well, it's shredder time now. You know, which takes our guys off their other regular jobs, to help the state out. We also, there's farmers that are in our community that have, reached out to the state to maybe bail it for their, however, that takes governmental agreements with the city to allow that, and I'm just not at that point that I want to do anything with the state. Yeah, I'm kind of ticked off at them, but we'll see what happens. But I mean, if the alderman, if you want it cut down, you know, I'll bite the bullet and we'll do it, and we'll move on. But we're just trying to keep negotiating, and I'm trying to find that person to make sure it happens, to mow it. Just mow it. It's grass, but now it's tall grass, so that's the problem. I know Adams Cruz mowers can't get in there. I don't want our equipment torn up. You know, like I said, Les's guys and the shredder out the lake could do it, but again, there's manpower, and we don't need to be doing that. That's not, this is a state property. But, you know, any direction from the council, if you tell me, hey, Mayor, we gotta get this taken care of, I'll be happy to listen but I just, very frustrated. Right now, yeah. We've been writing notices. We've got the paperwork trail, through Brian's office. So, of course, they're ignoring it. But we got the paper trail. It's just, trying to find that person to, call our local IDOT guys to say, go in and mow it. And our guys are ready, not our guys. The local IDOT folks are ready. They know they're ready to go in. They just haven't gotten that phone call. So, Ken, I wish I had better news. I'm trying, but, just not getting there.
Can I ask a silly question?
Oh, please, Aaron.
You said farmers have reached out to you
Yep.
to bail it. A wise man once told me that it's much easier to get forgiveness for something to ask to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Can't we just go in there and let them? Is the state gonna come in and stop them?
Well,
But who,
yeah.
There's various issues. One, if those farmers are working on a contract for the state and we go in and do anything without going through our proper procedures, there are liability issues. We may owe something for breaking into the contract that the state had with these farmers to tear it,
Yeah.
shred it or bale it or whatever. Basically, what we have to do is go through the process of sending out our notices of violation, and then at whichever point the city decides that's enough, we go ahead and shred it and send them a bill for it, which you will never see payment for because it goes to the court of claims, and it takes forever to get a notice saying there's no money available to pay. So I think that's why the mayor is trying to locate one person, whoever that might be, that has the authority to tell IDOT to go ahead and get in there and mow it this first time, so that the regular crews can mow it thereafter.
Yeah, and it's politics and, it's delicate because they let us, use we have
two sheds over there.
we have 2 sheds that they allow us to put our equipment in. There's also state facilities in our town that, obviously the prison, but DHS and, ISVI, ISD, you just really have to kind of be careful.
Shakeups at CMS too, they just announced a new director today.
Did they? Thanks, Ben. No, I didn't know that. Okay. My contact from CMS, I worked with her years ago in the governor's office, and she understands it. She's frustrated too. And maybe maybe we can do something with the local farmer to help the local farmer and help the city for the look. But we're exploring that right now. That's where we're at. Any other old business or new business tonight?
In regards to new business, I would like to remind everybody about the Juneteenth celebration this weekend. That's taking place on Saturday at the downtown location. Mayor Ezzard would be there, I'll be there, we'd love to see everybody else to come out, and if you haven't driven through downtown, be sure to go ahead and do so, and you'll see the new mural of Dr. Alonzo Kennebrew.
Yep.
That's been in place. So,
Looks
please
good.
come out and celebrate.
And then there's not to piggyback on the Juneteenth celebration, there's a 1 o'clock opening at the African American Museum that's on Grove Street with Art Wilson. They've done a lot of work there and at the Asa Talcott House, so be a good Saturday.
Andy, what you're
From
talking
11 to
is
3.
different than what you talk.
Juneteenth is a celebration downtown
Downtown
that
celebration.
starts at 11, and I think it goes probably
3.
till 3, and there's vendors and things, and then there's a 1 o'clock ceremony at the Asa Talcott's.
But it's kind of all tied in together
It's all
as
tied
a
in,
one
yeah.
celebration.
Yep.
So downtown, 11 to 3, and then any time between that time, you can go over to visit the museum.
Yep. Good stuff going on.
Martin says there'll be a bus running between the two
Any other new business, old business? Seeing none, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. Alderman Williams, seconded by Alderman Speed. We are adjourned. Thank you.